This is a show I've been wanting to do for a while. This is Overanalyzing Red versus Blue. This is going to be basically a mix of Eruption Fang's breakdown, as like Eruption Fang's Red versus Blue breakdowns, as well as Overanalyzing Avatar series. Been wanting to do this for a really long time, a couple years actually, and I just never got around to it. But since I'm planning on watching Red versus Blue again for my umpteenth time, I decided that I'm going to comment on literally everything that I see. Everything that I've wanted to say about the show, everything that I think about when I see the show, just everything in general. I'm going to be starting with season 6 because I feel like I have more to say about that rather than the Blood Gulch Chronicles. I might go back to the Blood Gulch Chronicles later. I'm not sure about that, but we'll have to see. I will be referencing the Blood Gulch Chronicles, however, in some points of this series, so if you haven't watched anything Red vs. Blue related, I recommend you watch it all. It's a pretty good show, so I'd recommend you watch the entire series, at least up to season 13, before you watch this. But if you are someone like me who has watched it and wants to know more about it, see everything in hyper detail, this is the show for you. Also, there's going to be a lot of spoilers, so, watch out for that. But let's get started. You know what? I agree. I think when faced with extinction, every alternative is preferable. Can we just admire how impressive this scene is? Like, you're only allowed 16 people maximum in a game of Halo 3, yet they have over 20 here. Actually, in the director's commentary, they say that they took 80 people to make this scene. Look at him wave. Look at him go. He's doing a great job.
We've got something over here.
Dear Director, I want to thank you in advance.
They fucked up these caves here. This is where the soldier was waving, but they entered on this side of the cave. Doesn't make sense to me. Also, you're going to tell me that they had over 80 people investigating this crash site and not one of them checked the cave right next to the Pelican?
Loss at Outpost 17B.
This camera wasn't actually CGI. The map they use is called The Pit, and the cameras are all over the place. They actually follow the player when they get in range of it.
We were disappointed that your recovery force reported a total loss at Outpost 17B. We had hoped there would be at least one soldier left that could shed some light on the situation.
So clearly Project Freelancer didn't tell the subcommittee about the lone survivor. That tells the viewer pretty easily and clearly that the project is up to some shady shit. It also tells the viewer basically that Project Freelancer is the bad guy in this situation, but doesn't explicitly say it. It's,
You are Private Walter Henderson, correct?
Yes, sir.
You can dispense with the formalities, Walter.
Impressive VFX here that haven't been seen in the series up to this point. Oh look, there's that dead guy from Recovery 1.
By the time we got a hold of it, it just seemed like a regular old transport. Our engineer said some of the wiring had been messed with, but he didn't seem, worried about it or nothing like that.
This is a nice callback to how the Blues put their tank's training program into the ship. This is also mentioned later, but it's a cool reference here.
We would catch guys getting into areas they shouldn't get into. But the weird thing was...
What doesn't make sense to me is that in this flashback, nobody has the ODST helmet that Walter has. If it was like a production issue, they had all the accounts from the previous scene with the ODST helmet. So why didn't they just use those same accounts in the flashback? It was always strange to me why all the flashback characters had Mark 6 helmets while Walter only had ODST.
A guy would go crazy, act up, and then we would throw him in a cell, and he would be fine. Then another guy would go nuts, disobey orders.
This kind of shows how scary it would be for soldiers who don't know what an AI is, or what Omega is, to experience what the Reds and Blues experienced back in Blood Gulch.
Seemed focused on the guys that were infected. Eventually, it just started killing everything.
I like that the meta just started killing everything after retrieving Omega, showing kind of how the rage is affecting him.
Could you describe it for us, Walter?
Not really. It moved fast when we first saw it, and after Blue Base, it was different.
In what way different?
It looked like it wasn't there. I don't know how to explain it.
Really? You couldn't think of the word invisible? Transparent comes to mind? Hell, see-through would have worked. Come on, dude. Okay, so now that the story is over, I can confidently say that this was an amazing way to tell that the show, movie, web series, whatever, has tonally shifted. It's no longer just a bunch of idiots dicking around in a canyon. There are other people involved now, and the story is unfolding. The tone shift was also shown in the side series Recovery 1, and even the other spin-offs Out of Mind, but those were less watched and less well known about at the time.
You'll be with us as long as absolutely necessary. You have my word.
So, like, did they actually house Walter, or is he dead now? Like, did they kill him, like FBI style?
Agent Washington, what do you make of all this?
I think it sounds like exactly what I encountered.
First off, the counter's here makes me uneasy every single time I hear it. Secondly, the last we saw of Agent Washington, he was deemed KIA, confusing how Washington wasn't killed by the Meta. He says here,
If I hadn't had York's healing unit, I'd be dead now.
but the Meta went to get his equipment. So, like, wouldn't the Meta have taken the healing unit and not let Washington keep it?
If it puts me on a path that leads to her, you can trust me at least that far.
So you would say that you have overwhelming feelings of anger and a need for revenge?
More than you know.
This is true. Right after South was killed, that's when Washington kind of shifts from trying to help Project Freelancer to trying to take them down. It's something we can discuss when it comes up, though. Look, they even put the little VFX in his visor. Isn't that neat? Well, that sure was a lot for a short episode, but that's it. That's all I got for this episode. If you liked it, leave a like. If you disliked it, dislike it. If you have anything that I missed or you'd like to discuss in the comments, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll be sure to reply to you as quick as I can. If I can reply to you, that is. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all later.